The Harper contains foul language and adult material. If you are easily offended and thin-skinned, you should hit the stop button now. And if you are not a complete idiot, let's get this party started.
Hike up your motherfucking panties.
And pull them to the side.
This is the Harper.
Fuck you. No bullshit.
Welcome to the Harper, ladies and gentlemen.
We had a little early fade in there, but we're ready to rock and roll.
That's right. This is Jake, as always with my sidekick Adam.
That's right. Come on now.
And our production assistant, the third leg of the wheel, Jake.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Little Jake. We'll just be Big Jake and Little Jake from now on the show. How's that sound?
Sure, that's good.
So,
what's up, everybody? Let's get it going.
That's right. Little special recording time this week. So we're not after our long days of stress. It's a little early morning weekend recording.
We're a little bit groggy.
That's right.
A little bit.
Yeah. We still got some good stuff for you coming though.
That's right.
So
it's early, but you know what the fuck are you gonna do here?
Right. So in the spirit of having an early morning beer, I think that anybody that is a longtime drinker has probably had some kind of a close encounter with the law when it comes to a DUI.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, the late, great Sam Kinison said, listen, we don't want to drive drunk, but how the fuck are we going to get home? I mean, it's just, unfortunately, sometimes it's real.
There's definitely some truth to that.
And back when I was going to the bars a lot,
yeah,
Uber wasn't a thing.
No.
The taxis were, but no one hailed taxis in the little towns that I was drinking in.
Out in the sticks, you don't get the opportunity to take a taxi.
No.
It's either find a friend or roll the dice.
See, now the stories are probably starting to slim down because of the Ubers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Right. But the small town attitude that used to exist to where it's like you get pulled over and they're going, hey, you're wasted. You drive straight home. Like those days are gone to where I think our generation is probably one of the first real generations to grow up with the constant fear if you drive with anything
serious
at all in your
fear.
breath.
Yeah, because you hear the stories in the 70s and late 80s where, or maybe even into the 90s where, like you said, some of the local cops that knew you,
yeah,
they might be like, all right,
I'm going to follow you home. Your car better not leave the driveway.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, I've not received the pullover. Well, yes, I actually have.
Yeah?
While being intoxicated. We'll get into that.
Well, go ahead, man. Go ahead and get us started. What was one of your close calls with the DUI?
Well, I've only got two that were like, you know, afterthoughts like, God, that was fucking stupid.
Yeah?
Jesus. What was I thinking?
Right. I mean, you had to get down to brass tacks on it.
To get down to fucking brass tacks. I mean, it's like, oh, wow. Yeah, anyways, we'll get back into that in a little bit.
Okay. Didn't mean to throw you the curveball.
No, that's all right. I liked
slow
it.
you down.
I liked it. Yeah, it was like it was the change up. You threw me the fucking change up. So I don't know what it was. I was probably 23, at least 23, maybe, yeah, probably 23 years old. And me and my crew, we would go up to Cleveland. And 3 or 4 of us, and we would go up to Cleveland and we would hit the clubs. And these are like just, you know, techno. You know, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was good times. Trilogy was one of the places. Actually had 3 bars. That's why they called it Trilogy.
Was this like the Flats area? Was
Yes.
that the district in Cleveland?
Cleveland, the Flats.
Okay.
Yep. And we would migrate around to a bunch of these little Flats bars and clubs. And one night, I got pretty fucking schnookered. But, you know, like Sammy said, you got to get home somehow.
Right.
I had this brand new Jeep Wrangler. I know Jake here loves Jeep Wranglers.
Best ride ever.
And this thing was brand new, out of the fucking box, V6 5.0 liter, and it was just ballsy. And anybody out there that had ever had a brand new Jeep in the 90s, I don't know how they are now, but you could fucking stomp on this thing. It was a stick shift, so you could stomp on it in neutral, and the whole thing would be like, boom. I mean, the motor's just making it tilt.
Yeah.
So I thought I had, like, you know, a race car, the race car Jeep. So it would get off the line pretty decent, and it would go pretty good.
Yeah.
But plus it was brand new, right? Most
Sure.
brand new fucking cars that have a little bit of girth will go.
Sure.
So We're at the lights coming down East 9th, right by the Cleveland Jacobs Field, the Jake, now Progressive Field. So it's a big long stretch there with about 3 or 4 lights till you get to the highway. And we come up to this light, and it's me, my friend Matt, my cousin Daryl. That's right, and my other cousin Daryl.
I wasn't going to say it.
And we're all feeling pretty good. And this Eagle Talon pulls up. Now, this is a race car.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the Jeep.
Classic.
And my cousin's in the back. Or no, my cousin's beside me. He's like, dude, race him. Come on, race him. So I'm over there, I'm like a fucking dumbass. Whoom, whoom, making the Jeep. And this guy, he looks over. He's another young guy by himself. And he goes, whoom. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's on. Here we go. So, and there's nobody around. I'm pretty sure it's about 2:15 in the morning.
Oh, man.
Really fucking stupid.
The witching hour.
And light screen. What? And I'm excited because it's nose to nose. I'm like, I'm keeping up with a fucking Eagle Talon. At the time, Eagle Talons were pretty hot cars.
Sure.
And it was like the scene from Meet the Fockers that made that. I don't know. Sometimes you see a movie and it makes you fucking belly laugh.
Yeah.
You could watch it a year later and it's like, this is not funny at all. But when they're racing through the lights and they just slam on the brakes, that's what we were doing. We just fly to the next light. We race again. Well, we get to like the third light right before. Well, we're coming to the third light right before you get on the highway.
Yeah.
And Buddy Matt's in the back seat, and he's starting to pay attention. And he looks back behind us, and there's the squad lights. Now, this is almost probably about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile behind us, but they can hear us.
Yeah.
Launching after time after time.
Sure.
So, and they're flying, and so I started to freak out. Well, this portion of the highway, it's like Spaghetti Junction.
Yeah.
Some cars can go down low, some cars can go down high. Well, we burn it for the last time, and we went up the ramp. He went down below, and here comes the cop. And he's already almost caught up to us.
Yeah.
I get up on the on-ramp to start to get onto the highway, and I'm reaching. I got the little side pockets of your doors.
Sure.
I'm reaching down in there. I'm like, I need some gum. I'm gonna have to talk to this fucking cop. I need some fucking gum. I'm like, I find the pack of gum. I can't get it out. I can't get it out of the wrapper. I just shove the whole thing, tin foil and all in my mouth. And I'm like, when you bite tin foil, it gets that like that little zapping power.
Yeah, sure.
So I pull over, and the cop comes right down behind us, and he could see that it was a car and a Jeep. For whatever the grace of God and the great stroke of luck was, he slowed down, but then he just went right on by, and he went down the ramp to the other guy.
Really?
And that's all we saw, folks. And we drove on down home. I probably had to change my underwear when I got home.
Yeah.
But that was my first stupid ass close call to get in the. And I wasn't like I definitely shouldn't have been driving, but like Sam said, you got to get home somehow.
Sure.
And that was my first scary moment.
I had an interesting one when I was young. I didn't drink a lot when I was really young. I was 19 and I was working at the bar, and we had one night where we had a little group of us that were really close with management, to where we would stick around while he was doing the counts and stuff, and he would let us have a couple beers. We worked hard for the night for him, to where we're all throwing down a couple beers. Then we head outside. We're waiting for the last couple people to come out, and one of the guys starts handing around a J. So we all toke on the J a couple times.
A Tenoige?
Yeah, and this was back in the day before everything was good, to where there was a lot of shit brown weed that went around back then. This was not the case with this stuff, to where I had only hit it a couple times, and we took off driving, and I felt fine. And about 2 miles into the drive, I'm like, well, this blows. Felt like I was kind of floating in the seat as I was driving, and I've got 4 guys in my little Grand Am, heading down the road. Like, 1 guy riding passenger, 3 guys in the back. So we're driving. Next thing you know, we go past a cop, and he whips it right out. I'm like, oh no. 2 of the guys then decide to tell us that they have outstanding warrants.
Yes!
So now they're becoming my driving coaches as we're moving down the road. They're like, we're in a 25. Don't go faster than 27. Just stay in this lane. Go up to the next stop sign, turn right. And I don't know Akron all that well at this point. Like, I'd only been at school for a couple months. So we make a turn. The guy's like, hey, I know a guy that lives right down here. We pull into the driveway. We pull in the driveway, lights off instantaneously. We watched this cop go by like 3 times, like trying to figure out where the fuck we went. So finally, we waited about a half hour. I think I'm starting to feel better. You know what I mean? From the adrenaline rush and getting everything toned down.
Sure.
To where they're like, okay, back out. We're going to head down the side street, cut over to where we ended up going all the way up to 18. Because if you just stay in your lane and you drive smart on 18, they're not going to fuck with you. They're looking for people being stupid.
Right.
So I get out there to these guys' house. I drop them all off to where it's just me. But I'm on the other side of Akron, I don't know where I'm at. I start trying to work my way back. And it was like, when I got by myself, like it all kind of set in again to where I'm like half drunk, half stoned, and I get lost. I get lost as hell in this residential neighborhood. And I'm like driving around in this neighborhood, and it kind of like went from good to being...
And your wing buddies aren't helping?
They're gone.
Oh.
I had dropped them all off. I'm all by myself.
Missed that part.
And by this time, it's like 3:30 in the morning, you know, to where like I had been up for hours. I'm starting to struggle, and I end up all the way out on 18. I end up all the way out at 71.
Oh, no.
To where I don't have my bearings, but I know from where I grew up, all right, if I take 71 back,
Yeah.
I can drop down, got on 224. So it ended up taking me like 40 minutes to loop around and finally get back to my dorm room in one piece, petrified. I thought for sure I was going to jail that night. And I
Right.
passed a couple more cops on the way, but grace of God, I didn't get pulled over to where it ended up working out. Have you ever actually been pulled over while you had been drinking?
Yes, and that's my next one.
Oh, really?
Like I said, it's only been twice.
Okay.
That these are like by the sheer grace of God.
Yeah.
I didn't get a DUI. So this was not all that long ago. So, you know, a lot of these things happen
In our youth.
when you're in your youths. I'm going to say it was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go to this annual Halloween bash, and it was always a good time. And it's out here in Wadsworth, and you know, it's a BYOB, and on this particular night, I brought I wanted a quick buzz. 1 year prior, I think I brought Captain Morgan and Coke, and I was actually Captain Morgan as I dressed up with, and the tagline was, I'm going to walk around and say, you want a little captain in you? You know, ha, 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 funny, funny, funny. But you know what happened that night? I ended up drinking the whole goddamn bottle.
Yeah, you did.
And I gave it all back to great Mother Earth.
You just rent the stuff, right?
You just run it. I'm either going to piss it out or puke it out. I decided to puke it out. But it was another, like my 21st birthday we just talked about. It was a happy puke. So anyways, back to the DUI almost happening. So on this particular night, I'm dressed up like the Mad Hatter.
I remember this outfit.
And this was one of the outfits. Sometimes I put a lot of work into it, my outfit. Sometimes I just kind of half-ass it and hope it comes out all right.
Sure.
This was one I put a lot of fucking work in. And I had the white face, like the clown face, in a huge top hat. And we went to this Halloween party, and I picked up on the way there, I picked up a 6-pack of these margarita beers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't remember, I haven't seen them since, but they were pretty fucking powerful.
Sure.
And my thought was, the other couple we're going with, they like margaritas, so we'll all have 1 or 2 of these.
Sure.
And then maybe I'll have a beer from the bar, because this place would run a bar too. And so ended up, I gave 1 away, and nobody else wanted any. And a lot of times at this place, they have a dance floor and everything. It's just a happening freaking Halloween party.
Nice.
And I'll get fucking shit-faced, and I'll go out there, and I'll just dance the whole rest of the night. The 3/4 of the night, I'm out there drunk dancing.
Sure.
Well, I could not catch that. You know, you get that feeling where you're like, oh, I'm feeling good. The music's on. I'm going to go out there and roll. I could not get to that point. Something about that night, I drank like 4 or 5. I finished them, I think.
Really?
And I didn't feel drunk.
Sometimes it just doesn't hit you hard like that. Other times it punches you right in the face.
But I knew that I should be.
Yeah.
So the night ends. It's about 11 o'clock. And, you know, when you've been drinking and you're driving, you tend to think about strategical ways to get home.
Mm-hmm.
Most points. Well, this was not one of those nights. We went from where we were at in Wadsworth, which is like close to Johnson Road area, straight into Barberton,
Okay.
which is like a danger zone. I already know somebody that got a DUI going home from Wadsworth that
Right.
way.
So you went from the outskirts of one town kind of right into the heart of another.
Yeah, and we should have taken some back roads to get where we were going.
Sure.
But we went right through the main road of this little town, and we got pulled over. right past this main intersection. And here I am, white-faced, red curly hair, giant top hat, even though it barely fit in the car. I didn't take it off.
Right.
My wife is Alice. And I fucked up. I had forgotten to update my license plate.
Really?
And that's why he pulled me over.
Oh, those are the worst.
I don't even know how he could see it because I used to hide the sticker down below the beauty ring that you can buy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you'll never see it. But for some reason, that's what he said. I'm pretty sure he pulled me over. And then as he was coming up, he's like, oh, it's outdated.
Oh.
And he comes up and he's like, hey, how you guys doing? And I'm like, oh, we're doing pretty good. How are you? And he starts to, so have you been drinking? And I'm like, yeah.
Always the first question.
I had a couple beers tonight. I know I don't smell like beer, but I'm not gonna like deny it completely.
Sure.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I think you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts to go through the, all right, well, let me run your stuff. And he took it back and he comes back. He goes, I don't think that you've been drinking too much, but I got to make sure. And at this point, I am feeling it.
It's kicking in.
I am fucking blitzed. And he runs me through a couple mental sobriety tests.
Yeah.
Doesn't get me out of the car, thank God.
Do you remember what they were?
Yes.
Okay.
And the first one, well, I don't remember what there was like 2 or 3, but I remember the one for sure. And it was, can you count backwards from 64 to 55? And I'm not going to fucking lie to you. This is how I knew how fucked up I was. I thought it was a trick question.
Really?
I'm thinking to myself, you can't fucking do that. It's impossible to count backwards from 64 to 55. You can't.
So you were hammered.
At this point, I was, bona fide gonzo. And so I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I think I might be able to do this. But I told the guy, I think I went like 50 or whatever it was, 64, 63. I was really taking my time. And I kind of like hesitated. I said, I'm sorry. I'm just really nervous right now. I'm like, which anybody is, even if you get pulled over normally.
Oh, for sure.
You're nervous anyway. So I'm just trying to be blatantly honest, even though he knows a little bit. So then I get through it. I get to like, what was like 59.
Mm-hmm.
And then Donna's over there going, 58, 57. And I'm like, and I want to say, shut up, I can hear you. So then I get through it.
Right.
But then when I'm like, get at 55, I don't remember what he said to stop at. And I'm like, God, I hope it's 55. So I stopped at 55. I look up at him. He's like, all right. And I think he might have said something else. Thank God he didn't do the alphabet backwards.
You'd have been in trouble with that.
I mean, I can't even do that normal. I don't think. I mean, maybe, but
CYXWVUT.
I can't sing that. No way.
No?
So then he looks back and he goes, well, and he knows that he's looking at our address too, and we're not far from home.
Sure.
I mean, we're literally about 2-minute more drive.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I got to give you a ticket for the license plate. I'm like, thank you. I'll take that. Like I can tell in his voice, right?
Right.
I got to give you a ticket for the license plate. And I think he felt kind of like, maybe this was that cop moment that you were talking about, the small town cop moment.
Yeah.
Maybe I got that and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But so he let us go, gave me a ticket for the license plate, got home, and we were like shitting bricks. And then we started like laughing. I mean, it actually haunted me for like 3 nights. Like I couldn't sleep for like 3 nights. But then we started like laughing about, can you imagine my mugshot? Of
As the Mad Hatter?
of the Mad Hatter. I don't even know if they would like make
I think they would have made you take the hat
but
and
there'd
the
still be
makeup
like
off.
a bunch of white around my
Look like Heath Ledger after a scene of The Dark Knight, man.
Oh my God. So that was the ultimate close call that I got. That,
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe it was the local cop little mentality there.
That's pretty close.
And we were close to home. And like I said, getting out of the car with a sobriety or the backwards alphabet, I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
I was almost fucked trying to count back 9 spots.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
I had one time to where it's going to sound funny, but we went up to Geneva on the lake. which if anybody's ever been up there, if you haven't, go ahead and try it. It's an amazing place. But it's Geneva on the Lake. They have like 25 wineries within like 10 square miles. So much fun. So we go up there, do like the wine trail, on a Saturday night. I don't know how many bottles of wine we drink, a ton of them, get back. Everybody's a mess. We end up crashing out. We get free breakfast in the morning. So we all go down, sit down and eat breakfast. I'm feeling worse after breakfast. Like sometimes, how like a big greasy breakfast after a hard night of drinking, like that's exactly what your body needs.
Yeah.
Your body soaks
Well,
it all
they say
up
that's what you need. I don't get it.
It didn't work that time.
Grease with leftover alcohol. I don't know how it blends.
I don't know. It was oil and water for me that day.
Right.
I felt so bad when I left, but I felt bad from the food, but I felt worse from the alcohol. To where like I started driving, I'm like, dude, if I get pulled over, I'm totally getting a DUI right now. So I literally drove 2.5 hours, like white knuckled.
You had to drive that far.
Yeah, from Geneva on the Lake to get home. But we actually had something going on that afternoon to where I knew that I had to be home. Dude, I've never been so scared in my life. And like I kept watching like my speed, because like the speed zones, there was a bunch of construction to where we would be like 50, 55, 70, to where like I was constantly like paranoid about what zone I was in. A couple times I didn't notice when a sign had changed.
Right.
To where like I looked down, all of a sudden I'm going 70 and there's a 55 sign. I'm like, oh shit. Like it was bizarre, man. It's one of the few times I can honestly say that had I gotten pulled over the next day, I would have gotten a DUI from 10 hours before.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
No, you got to watch it because I've had a friend that was coming home from the Browns game, and he got a DUI because he was speeding. And you think about it, and you're like, God. And he even said it. He's like, why was I speeding?
Right.
You want to get home, of course,
Sure,
and as quickly as possible, but you don't want to get pulled over for something stupid,
right,
when you're drinking. So,
Does
not that we're condoning drinking and driving at all.
No, not at all. We're just discussing, kind of things that we've been through, and maybe you're going to jot down a lesson or two on kind of what not to do and how to stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
with this
don't
kind of
try
stuff.
this at home.
No, definitely don't try this at home. I only have one more. I mean, like I said,
Okay.
I've been fortunate over the years. The last one that I have, we used to go to BW3s a lot on Thursday nights. They would have like the $2 tall drafts, so you could walk in with $20, end up hammered, and walk out after having a super fun evening. The Thursday night football nights were always the best, because stand around and
Sure.
people would pack the place out
Plus,
on Thursday
Thursdays
nights.
are like in our area are like a local holiday for drinking. Anyways,
It
after
is.
work,
Right. And you just have to drudge through Friday,
drudge through Friday.
which we've done before.
Yes.
So we're out there one night, and it ended up being one of these things to where there was like 4 of us that went out together, and then a couple more people we knew would show up, and then somebody else that we knew would kind of show up. And next thing you know, there's a group of like 16 or 18 of us. The one gentleman ended up buying a couple of rounds of shots. Beers started getting bought and passed around and stuff. And these were my super good time Charlie days.
Right.
To where we get to like 12:30, and I am hammered. I mean, and I know I'm hammered. I'm like, I got to get home. I have to go to work the next day. Like, there's no calling off of work. You know what I mean?
Thirsty Thursday, baby, get you.
Right.
So
So
got you.
I had a friend of mine. I said, "Hey, can you just follow me back home?" He lived a town over from me, so it was about 8 to 10 minutes out of his way. But he had hardly been drinking at all. So he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll follow you home." I ended up getting off at the wrong exit on the highway because, of
course,
from where I was at, you can get on the highway pretty quick within a couple lights. I ended up getting off at the wrong exit to where I'm going the wrong way on State Route 30, to where I actually had to go down, get turned around, come back. And it was the only time I can ever say that I've driven to where I was so drunk that I literally was struggling just to stay inside the lines. I mean, my weaving was so bad. It was just like,
God.
It was one of those moments where I remember like getting home and I just felt like the entire world was like off of my shoulders. Like I made it without getting in an accident and not getting in trouble. But it scared me to the point it's like, if I feel like that, I just cannot.
Right.
I think that you learn your acceptable amount of drinking and being able to drive. Some people can handle 1 drink and drive. Some people can handle 3 or 4. And the way their body metabolizes it, you're still going to
Sure.
be okay.
Still not a good idea.
Yeah.
But no, I've been in that situation where even if I've only I probably am way below the level.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm okay, but still, even though you're okay, you don't know how you're going to register on a breathalyzer test.
Right.
And you get paranoid. And when you get paranoid, you drive worse. If you're just cool and calm, you're like, this is fucking this. Because I mean, how many times have we all done it sober where you've driven and you can't remember the last 2 miles?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, whoa,
What was that?
what the fuck was that all about? But you were driving perfect
Sure.
or really well. So it's kind of the same thing. When you're relaxed, you're going to get through it better. When you start thinking about staying between the lines, it's so much worse.
It is.
And you're like, because there used to be this old theory, and I don't know if any officers could email us and confirm this or not, but if a cop was tailing you and he thought that you might be and he wanted to bust you for a DUI, that he would actually start to swerve because you see the lights and it starts to become one of those like
to where you feel like you're the one doing it. To where
well,
like you feel like you need to correct.
that you have to correct. Now, I've heard that. I don't know if there's any truth to that,
I would love to look that up and see.
but
Be interesting to find out.
would be interesting. Jake, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I have a quick story. So right after high school, a lot of our friends went to college at Kent State, which is about 40 minutes from here. So my buddy calls me. He's like, hey, you want to go up to Russ's apartment and have some beers, and we have some girls coming over.
Yes.
You know, so I'm 18. I'm 18, you know.
Great story already.
It's a great host already. Is what it is.
So we get someone to buy us this, you know, some beer, and then we get some Smirnoffs for the girls, and we
You
drive.
got to take care of the ladies.
We drive up there and we're hanging out, and it's Kent State, and I know there's a lot of cops, and I'm driving, so I'm like, hey, you know, I'm not going to drink that much because I don't want to get a DUI. So we're up there, and you know, I think one girl drank a Smirnoff, and we had like 12 of them, and we have a couple beers, and you know, the night didn't really take off. So we leave out of there, and we're driving. Right before I get on the highway, get pulled over. I'm like, oh man, I feel okay because I did only drink a couple beers. So, but I'm driving my dad's car, and this story's going to take a little turn, but so the cop comes up, knocks on the window. Hey, have you been drinking? I see you have some Smirnoff in your back seat. What, you know, you guys a couple of fruits? You know, you guys just out here in Kent State drinking Smirnoffs together, hanging out. I'm like, nah, you know, at least he was good spirited because I think he could tell that. He's like, since you have the alcohol and you're underage, I'm going to have to get you out of the car and run all the tests on you.
Right.
So I'm nervous. I'm like shaking. So I get out and I, you know, finger to the nose, the pen test, the walk.
How are you doing?
I did good.
Okay.
But it was cold. It was, you know, it was winter time.
So now you got the nerves, plus you're shaking a little bit.
Correct. So he's like, he's like, puts me back in the car, and he's like, hey, we're going to have you guys grab the alcohol and pour it out. But first I have to check the trunk to make sure that you don't have more back there. So I pop my dad's trunk, and he goes around, he looks in the back, and he comes back around. He's like, can you explain why there's 300 bottles of lotion in your trunk? My dad, he goes, what? My dad worked for the school, and they had a bunch of expired lotion, and he had took it all. So he had loaded the trunk up with all this lotion. He's like, let's take this down to brass tacks. Are you guys some queers? You know, are you guys, do you have Smirnoffs and lotion? Like, what are you guys doing out here? Anyway.
That's terrible.
It was going to be a long night, officer.
So we pour all the alcohol out, and they just let us go. And
Really?
we just joke about it on the way home. And
Man.
Oh, man.
I'm like, oh, they got us, man. They got us.
Fucking guys were making fun of us.
They hurt our confidence more than anything.
Right?
That's a good one.
That's terrible. You almost would have been better to just take the DUI at that point. Like, no, I'm still a man. It's okay.
Yep, no, I drank those.
Put me in the clink, bro.
Too.
Yeah. I got one more, but it's not. Wasn't even a close call.
Yeah.
It was about being paranoid.
Okay.
So used to go up north in the little town and have a couple beers, and then I'd come back because there was a bar right beside my apartment, and it's literally like 3 miles. So come back through the little town towards the apartment, and I had seen I had passed the cop.
Yeah.
The cop didn't turn around, didn't fire the lights, but I saw it turn like down a side road,
Yeah.
and I got super paranoid. I'd only had a couple beers with dinner, but I'm just thinking, oh no, I'm like 1 second away from my apartment. This motherfucker's not going to get me. So I started like speeding. I hit the center of town. I go to the right, and then a little quick alley, and then I'm at my apartment. And I fly in, and I'm thinking, oh no, they can feel my hood. I think I was a big pot smoker. I wasn't, and I just had a few beers. So I fly into the apartment. I'm like hiding all the lights off for like a half an hour. It probably wasn't that long. Probably about 15 minutes. Of course, nothing ever happened, but
still got away.
Anticlimactic there. But
hey,
I was like, they're not gonna fucking catch me,
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
I mean, in some ways, I think though that it's the worst part of it is the fear, of what's actually going to happen. I mean, I think that if it actually happened, within a few minutes, you would come to terms with the fact that, okay, this is going to go on my license. I'm going to have to deal with some court. I might get to do the weekend Club Med thing, you know, where you have to go for it. And I'm going
Right.
to have a fine that I have to pay. You know, I mean, when you put it in those terms, there are worse outcomes in life, but it's just that fear of it happening. And I think part of it's probably the embarrassment.
Well, and now they make it even worse. They give you the party plates and everything like that.
I think you got to have more than one to get party plates, though, don't you?
Maybe now, but back in the day, it wasn't. You got to. I mean, I shouldn't say back in the day. I should say 10 years ago, you get a DUI, you got the party plates.
You know what's funny, though, is how many nice cars have you ever seen party plates on? I feel like every time I've ever seen them, they're on something that's at least 15 years old, has probably a trash bag for one of the windows. I don't very often see them.
Sometimes,
on
but
nice
you
new
know,
cars.
though, and this is kind of a fuck you to the corporate world, because I've known some guys that have gotten out of their party plates because they're kind of a little high up in the ranks
Sure.
of their corporation or wherever, and the boss has been like, "Yeah, we can't. I mean, I'll pay the court whatever fine to not let them do that." It's like, no, you know what? I'm sorry if you're a little bit up the ladder guy.
Yeah.
If you got popped, party plates.
Right. I'm good with it. I think you should have to have them for a year.
I
But
mean,
but the funny thing about it, though, is with today's technology, why? They can scan your license plate so easily now. So why do you really need to have a different colored plate on there?
it's like basically they're telling the rest of the drivers in the world, watch out for this motherfucker.
It's almost like public shaming, though.
It is. It's totally. It's like almost back to like the red stripe on your door. You know, watch out, there's a whore in here.
The
or
scarlet
whatever.
letter.
I don't know what the red stripe was for. Threw that into the whore reference. Sorry
Yeah.
for all you red stripe people that aren't whores.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
It's interesting.
It is. So anything else on the DUIs?
I think that, I mean, I didn't dig too deep into the brain cells for that, but I think that's about all I got.
Yeah. I think that we've been fortunate. So let's just keep being
I
smart
mean-
about things.
Let's get back to brass tacks here.
Right? I mean, it might be a little bit different if you got pulled over in Texas. I'm not exactly sure how they would deal with it down there.
You probably get butt fucked in the face.
Is that what would happen?
I guess.
I hope not. That sounds
Apparently,
odd.
that's a nice something they say in Texas, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like a Texas saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely gay.
is that from Kermit the Tart or who throws that out there?
I don't know. Who's got syphilis?
Oh,
I don't know.
That might be it. I do love when you listen to certain people and you just can't help but think like, is that the real Beavis and Butthead? Do they exist?
What do you mean?
Right?
What?
But every time his buddy says something, he's like, yeah, yeah. It's like,
I've got a great idea.
right? I just am actually excited to find somebody like that. Like, I wouldn't mind meeting a celebrity.
It would be
you know?
great.
A real life cartoon,
Yeah.
right? Just they shouldn't have made it a douchebag, right? So anyway, you know, something that goes hand in hand with drinking.
Actually, we kind of flip this around because sometimes going to the concert, you have to get home.
Yeah,
You know,
sure,
it's a reverse segue here.
it really is.
Yeah.
We kind of backed our way in. You said segue again.
Did I say segue?
You did.
Is that not a good word to work?
No, you can use it. You know the guy that created Segway died on a Segway.
Did he really?
True story.
Nice.
He actually
That's a
built,
nice segue.
He built a 4-wheel drive, like a 4-wheel drive looking version. Like it had big honking like Mutter tires on it, and they were out in Arizona, out at the Grand Canyon, like doing a photo shoot, like for the whole thing.
Really?
And he's on it, and the throttle gets stuck, woo, right down into the Grand Canyon. No
Well,
joke,
hey,
man. You can look it up. Dude that invented the Segway died on a Segway.
There's two things that scare me dying. Like if you could think of the worst ways to die, I think falling, even though it would be quick, but that fear, like 2 seconds into it.
You're probably gonna have the greatest endorphin rush,
Yeah.
of your entire
I think you
life.
start enjoying it, you know.
Well, you would have to at said point where you know it's over. This is it, you know. But and then drowning, I think that would be horrible.
Right?
So yeah, but falling into the Grand Canyon, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He
I
yells-
don't know, man.
he yells
Falling
pencil.
happens fast, though.
It does.
Even the tallest buildings and stuff that you could
I don't know
leap
why
off
this
of or bridges.
hopped in my brain, but the images of 9/11 where they're
Yeah.
jumping off the building. I mean, that obviously wasn't a good time.
No. But like it happens fast. Like if we're gonna go down this avenue for a minute, like the worst ways to possibly go, dude. I couldn't imagine being eaten by like dogs. Like, have you ever seen videos like that on like Faces of Death back in the
Sheesh.
day? Like, you get a couple dogs that decide they're gonna tear you apart. That is not good times.
Yeah. Well, let's not go too deep into this. I think this is a great
Yeah.
great next show.
We're going to put that on the list for
It's coming up.
1,000 terrible ways to die.
Worst ways to die.
Right.
It's fucking comedy gold right there.
That is comedy.
Even though
gold.
we're not comedy. This
Man.
is not a comedy podcast.
I don't know. You're pretty fucking funny to me.
Funny looking.
So what we started talking about is hand in hand with alcohol goes
Yeah.
concerts.
Yes.
And I think that concerts all take on a life of their own. You know, each experience is going to be unique to the concert. I mean, a lot of times, even if you see the same band more than once, you're going to get a different outcome and have a different show than what you had the first time.
Can I interject one moment?
You can jump in and
What-
fly.
Does anybody like seen a band more than 4 times? One band.
I don't believe that I have.
Jake?
I have not, but I
'Cause-
know people that have.
Right. And I've known some people that like literally like follow a band. Like I like Dave Matthews, but this was particularly about Dave Matthews. This couple would literally go all over, like, because he would travel like East Coast.
Sure.
And they fairly close to us. They would go all over and then see him like 20 times. I'm like, I love music.
Yeah.
Music's a huge part of my life.
Yes.
And even if it was my favorite, mostest band in the world, I don't want to see them 20 fucking times.
No, a couple times in your set.
Even 4 or 5 times. You know, if they like when I was growing up and I was really getting into music, I was a drummer. One of the best drummers, in my opinion, is Neil Peart from Rush. So because of the drummer, I became a Rush fan, and we saw them probably 3 or 4 times. But it was like they put a new album out, and we wanted to go see them, you know. But it wasn't like I traveled the world seeing these people. I don't know. I guess I just don't get it.
My girlfriend, she does that for Backstreet Boys. Last year, Chicago.
Are they still rolling
This
it?
year, Pittsburgh. Every year, if they're in a local surrounding state, they go.
You know why they won't go away? Because Backstreet's back. All right.
Is that the reason?
I guess they have that song.
Have you seen the Backstreet Boys in concert?
Never.
I haven't. Actually, I did.
Did you?
I did.
Whoa. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's actually really cool the way that it happened. It's probably my coolest concert story that I don't even have on my list.
This is like the shake weight level.
This is Shake Weight Level Part 2. No, I might have brought this up on another show. I don't know if I did. But when we were in school, you know how you used to have to do like candy bar or magazine sales, shit like that, fundraisers?
I hated that fucking shit. Fuck you, candy bar sales.
Right? Well, if you hit a certain level of shit that you sold, like as a school, you got like free pizza party and shit
Right,
like that.
right.
Well, what they did was like in a 2-county area, whoever was the number 1 school in that 2-county area got a free concert with a pizza party and the whole 9 yards. And it was the Backstreet Boys. When I was in 8th grade,
But that's pretty big for us.
they weren't even new, but they weren't famous yet.
Oh.
They had the jackets and like the dances. Man, I wish for anything that I had it recorded because like it was the hokiest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. But then they actually stayed that night because we had a football game, so they stayed and watched our junior high school football game. It was incredible. So
I never understood how Mark Wahlberg was so cool in like his first few videos, you know, all ripped, throwing down the barbells. And then there was his brother in the Backstreet Boys, and you're just like, how are these?
Whoa!
No, am I wrong?
No, you're wrong. Come on, not the Backstreet Boys, not before the Backstreet Boys.
I thought he was in Backstreet.
No, come on,
Who is it?
NKOTB, New Kids.
Oh, sorry about that. I got
Donnie
that
was
all
one of the
wrong.
New Kids.
Donnie was on. Okay, well, still, I didn't know how Donnie could be so geeky in the New Kids on the Block.
Just saying, there are people that hate you now for that.
I don't care. I didn't like either one of them. They can all burn in Hades.
You're never gonna go get a Wahlburger?
Although I might. I like burgers.
I mean, there's one in Cleveland.
Yeah.
We should.
No,
try
I
that
like him.
sometime.
I'm a big Marky Mark fan as far as acting goes. I think he's
Yeah.
funny as hell. What was the movie with the bear?
Marky Mark with the bear.
Marky Mark with the bear. The talking fucking bear. It was fucking
Oh,
great.
Ted.
Yeah, I thought it was
the
Ted.
teddy bear. I'm trying to envision like a giant grizzly bear running around with Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I have no idea.
No,
like,
that was
was
a
he in-
hilarious movie.
Was he in Into the Wild? That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
The
Well,
Edge.
now you got me thinking about DiCaprio getting his freaking backside eaten by that grizzly bear. Into what movie was that?
The Revenant.
What a great movie.
That movie was crazy.
Crazy.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know if it was great, but that scene was. Whew.
Oh yeah, when the,
Like,
when the
I don't
bear's
want to be
actually
that guy.
tearing him up. It looked like a rough scene to film. A lot of angst going on there.
Yeah.
So give me a good concert story.
Good concert story. Well, I think your stories about concerts are going to be a lot more flavorful than mine.
Flavor Flav.
Foofy. What? But I've got a couple. The very first concert I ever went to I went to see Rush.
Yeah.
I looked at the dates. I thought I was 15, but apparently numbers don't lie. I guess I was 16. And Matt and I were just getting into Rush. We'd been Rush fans for a couple years, but we hadn't seen him, and I had not been to an actual concert, other than stupid ballet things for your school.
Sure.
But so we have another friend. This is why I thought I was 15, because we had to find somebody that could drive. So there was an upperclassman, 1 year, I think just 1 year older than us, that maybe it was because we didn't have our own car. But anyways, he drove us up there. We were all drummer fans and whatnot. And went to the Rush concert. And this was in the old Coliseum in Cleveland.
Nice. Richfield.
You would walk out of this place, because when we did walk out, you couldn't hear a damn thing. It was like they fucking made you deaf.
Mm-hmm.
And at this age, 16, I hadn't even smoked a cigarette yet, I don't think. Maybe I was about to. Coming up in the next part of the year. This is like November.
Yeah.
And
had your cigarette smoking date planned out ahead
yeah,
of time?
I had it planned out. So I hadn't drank anything, hadn't smoked any weed, hadn't smoked any cigarettes, still fairly straight-laced or brass tacks. And the whole place smelled like marijuana. It was just
Yeah.
this huge, and I'm like thinking, I know it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know exactly what it is. Haven't tried it yet, but it's everywhere. And so here's a 17-year-old and two 16-year-olds, newbies to the world. We're in this concert, and before the show, these people are like running around with these huge Rush banners. It's just like it's just like a giant Rush love fest. And then you got this guy with the sneaky fucking coat jacket. He kind of like comes up right beside us. There's some people to my left, and he knows them, and he just pulls out this baggie with like 16 joints in it.
Oh, man.
And he's like, "You guys need a couple?" And they're like, "Yeah, thanks." And we're just like,
Here we go.
I'm not partaking because they didn't offer me any.
No?
But no, we didn't. We didn't need to. Contact buzz.
Sure.
I just remember being so naive and so stupid. We wore those shirts to school the next day, and being so dumb and naive, we knew they smelled like weed, but we were like smelling them like we just loved it. We're like, "Oh, you still smell that?
Ever.
We're so cool." But yeah, that was like my first wake up call to. But then I would think about it later. I'm like, where were the authorities at?
Yeah.
People were just fucking lighting up. They didn't fucking give a shit.
It's crazy.
You would think they would at least wait till the lights went down.
Oh, no. We were at Polaris. I mean, not Polaris. Blossom. Last year. It was the first concert that we took our 16-year-old daughter to. Like,
Okay.
she went with us to like an adult country show, and it was like it was summertime, As the sun started to go down, dude, it was just like this weed fog, like encompassed the entire grassy knoll in the lawn area. It was insane, and it was like the entire show never stopped. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. To where I remember like getting home, and it was just like you said, you just had this smell of like weed and sweat funk, plus I'd been drinking beer, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I just need to burn these clothes and never go down that road again.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's like my experience was, it was like, oh, it's almost okay. It's a fucking concert.
Yeah.
Let them light up.
Well, I feel like it's
It,
like
a
that
lot
of
has
times.
changed though. You remember like days where you could actually, I don't even know if they let you take a lighter in now, but you could use, everybody would hold lighters.
Oh, the old school people still do instead of the phones.
But now it's phones. I'm like, God, you guys need to, I don't know. I guess phones are safer. Nobody's getting burnt.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your line there. I knew where you were going with the phones.
That's okay.
That's my bad.
Well, I mean, you're not going to get burnt or anything unless your Samsung, what was it?
Exploding
Samsung
your-
Note 7 or whatever
I think it was the 7.
blows up.
That's awesome.
All right, I got kind of a funny one. Funny, not so funny.
Okay.
Went to Blossom, and I don't know if there was. I don't really remember what we went. It was like one of those mosh pit events where there's like
Oh, nice.
12 bands. Like there's, at Blossom, there's a few different stages.
Sure.
And you could walk between the stages, and then the main stage is just this big grass field. And I don't remember what was going on. I know I was definitely drinking a lot, but I remember at some point, we were there a long time. I just got tired,
Just exhausted.
sleepy. And I wasn't the only one laying on the lawn.
Yeah.
But I laid down. Next thing you know, I'm out. I'm just gonna take a little snoozer, about 15-minute snoozer, and I wake up and it's probably only been like 10 minutes. And friends will be friends. I've got like 8 worms on me, crawling in my ears, on my face, or it's summertime, all my legs. I'm like, I love you guys, man.
Thanks, fellas.
Woo!
Really appreciate the makeover.
You guys are, I guess it's better than like them fucking sharpieing my face or something.
Sure.
But yeah.
You're not the only one that's laid down on the grass up there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a herniated disc in my neck
Ooh.
years ago, and they gave me some steroids for it, but they also gave me some Percocet, and it was killing me at work on Friday that particular week. So I take my Percocet at work, which didn't really bother me, just kind of makes the pain go away.
Right.
And then we meet up together for the concert, and this was before my wife and I were married. So this is like the big country concert of the year that we had been waiting for. Like
Right.
we had been to several other ones throughout the year, but like this was the one that we were pumped for, right? So on the way there, I'm slamming down rum and cokes. I mean, just dropping the hammer on them like I would normally do
Right.
before a show. You
Right.
know, limits the amount of bathroom breaks that you have to take.
Amen.
While still getting speeds up the process as far as getting drunk.
You got to get primed before a show.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't say you have to, but it's more fun.
It is. So we're having a blast, like for the opening act, and as the opening act's winding down, like I can feel everything just like punching me in the face. So I was like, I need a cheeseburger. So we decided that we're going to go up the hill up there because
I need to balance.
Right.
I'm unbalanced.
Right. So we get up to the top of the hill and like I just couldn't function anymore. It was like I lost control of my body, and there was a little grassy hill that had a sidewalk on each side of it. I just climbed up on top of that thing and just laid down. And bless her heart, my wife. She wasn't even my wife at the time, put up with my shenanigans. Like she had been dying to see this guy in concert. She comes and sits right down beside me. She was completely sweet about the whole thing. But then when the show ended, I'm still a fucking mess. I mean, just, you know what I mean? To where we had, again, bless her heart, she ended up finding a guy with a gator. And he let us hop on the back of his little golf cart looking thing and drove us out to where our car was. So I didn't have to walk out of Blossom that night.
You created Uber. You created fucking Uber.
But we talked about that though. It's like, do you know how much money that place could make if they would offer that service from where the general admission parking is to the gate? If they just had shuttles that ran back and forth, I would pay $3-4 for that on concert night.
Just $1. They'd still make $300-400.
I'm just saying. But even if I had to pay $5 for a round trip ticket in and back out from the show, I would pay that all day long.
I think the problem is a lot of those people don't. Nobody. I mean, do you carry cash at all anymore?
Always, well, especially at a concert, man.
Yeah, I guess
because I feel like when you go to concerts, sometimes their shit goes down. To where it's like if you don't have some cash on you. I'm big on carrying a little bit of cash. I mean, most of what we buy will go on a card, but
I don't carry a lot of cash anymore. So
yeah. So
I'm wondering how well that would work. But no, I think it's definitely a good idea.
It may be a gold mine.
Really,
The drive to the in Arizona, they have golf carts where they take you from bar to bar to bar to bar.
Sure.
And you just tip them. There's no, hey, get in. There's no flat rate, just tips. And they make a killing. $300 a night driving a golf cart for a couple hours, drunk people from bar to bar.
it's crazy.
it's good shit.
Maybe that's what we need to do next. We keep talking about the next endeavor. Let's buy a couple golf carts and have our summer up there. It'd be great to get Blossom involved with it.
Yeah, Blossom. I got one. Fuck you to Blossom.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about venues and funny things. This wasn't funny at all. So the last time I saw Rush, which I think this was either 3 or 4, talking about following bands around, and Matt and I were going to go, just him and I don't even know how long ago. This is probably almost 10 years ago, and we're at you could go like the Giant Eagle and buy the tickets. Now you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And we're standing there, and we decided we're gonna pay like $60 to go see these guys. Back when you could get a decent seat for $60.
Sure.
Plus, there's the lawn, and if you don't understand about how this venue is, it's like a huge lawn where it's like general admission, and then there's seating that's closer. They call that the pavilion.
Yes.
So
It's covered.
personally, yeah, it's covered from any inclement weather and whatnot. I have never sat in the pavilion at this point, and we're actually talking to the clerk, and they're about what we want, what seats we want, and whatever it was for the lawn. Let's just say it was $45 for the lawn.
Okay.
And he's like, "Fuck this! I fucking cover the rest. You want to sit in the pavilion?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can cover it, whatever. You want to sit in the pavilion? Fuck it, let's go sit in the pavilion. So we paid the extra, I think it was like extra $20. So now maybe we're up to like $65.
Yeah,
Which at that time's decent amount for a concert.
absolutely.
But we're feeling okay about it. We're going to be in the fucking pavilion. We're going to have a seat.
Yeah.
We're going to be under the roof in case it rains because that would suck. And so we show up to said concert. We're huffing down the trail and we're like, we go into the little gates.
Yeah.
And we're like, where the fuck is our section? Doesn't exist. Here at this time, and I don't know if Blossom's changed or not, but they put an extra 3 or 4 rows
At the back.
outside of the pavilion that is on, if you look up, it's on the edge of the roof. And I'm pretty sure we would have got fucking rained on.
Yep.
That's where our seats were.
Sucks.
And I'm like, wait a second.
This is bullshit.
Fuck you. This is not the pavilion. This is outside the pavilion. False advertisement, you
It is.
motherfuckers.
I mean, you're in the pavilion area. I mean, there's a gate you have to go through to get to it.
I don't think there is.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a gate that you have to have a ticket to get
Still,
through.
it should be called outer pavilion. Something.
Lower pavilion and outer pavilion.
Great pavilion, shitty pavilion. Let's just call it what it is.
I mean, it's better at that point, really, to hop the fence and get back on the grass.
At that point, it was almost. But fortunately, we had good weather.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the show from right there. But
Yeah.
that's it.
So I got a souvenir once from a show.
Nice.
I know I've mentioned it before that my favorite band, they're nobody else's favorite band, and that's cool, but Toad the Wet Sprocket. I know you love to laugh at me every time I say it, and I don't care. Yours is Rush, right?
Hey.
I mean, come on.
But you're like their
We'll agree
only
to-
fanboy.
We'll agree to disagree. I just think that
I
their
got-
music's incredible.
All of Canada backing me up. Hey.
All of Canada, I'm sure Celine Dion and a few others got the J Beebs.
Different
So
genre.
you don't have the young girl group
Genres.
of listeners following that guy.
Probably not.
I should say those guys, right? Rush, bunch of guys.
Well, they're all grandpas now. So.
Yeah. Well, so they're not in a rush anymore.
Tier. No, they're in a slow grind.
But we went up to Motor City Casino outside of Detroit.
Yep.
And we went up and saw Toad the Wet Sprocket with the Counting Crows. Which
That's a good
I,
show.
I love the Counting Crows too.
Yeah,
to
I
where
like
it's
the Counting Crows.
Hell yeah. So we're up there. It's general admission on the floor level to where there's a balcony, though, up above you.
Can I ask you real quick, who opened?
Toad.
Okay.
Toad opened for him. But the lower level where we just had general admission tickets, but you could go right up to the stage. And then what was actually above you, the balcony,
Right.
those were all. So we're like, no, we're just going to get there a decent time. We got in, we were like second row, to where everything was right there. It was awesome. I wouldn't have traded that experience for nothing. But halfway through Toad's first set, their bass guitar player flicked his pick out into the crowd. It was like watching a boomerang, like straight to me. I was like, hell yeah. So I got my wallet out.
You didn't fumble it? You caught that motherfucker?
Oh, I drilled it, dude. Left hand. I mean, it's like playing baseball. Watch it come in. Nailed it.
No one else probably even saw it. You were like,
Oh no, everybody saw it. Everybody threw it.
Whap!
But it was like a curveball though.
Yeah.
Like when he threw it, he kind of like whipped it around.
Oh, it's not his first rodeo. He knew what he was
no.
doing.
He totally
Pow!
knew what he was doing. So he gets it out, and I'm like, hell yeah! So I've got a guitar pick from my favorite band. So I'm like, this is awesome.
Hell yeah.
I'm there with my brother, so we're still having a blast. The concert, just a big sing along, with bands like this that have so many songs. If you're a
Right.
fan that you know.
Right.
Halfway through the Counting Crows set, their lead guitarist flicks one. I feel it hit me to where like we're all over the place, like trying to find it. Like, where did this thing go? I mean, it was the second one was
Right in your
red.
pocket.
Huh? It did. It went right into the pocket of my shirt, and my brother's like, "Hey, check your pocket." So he pulled it out. So I let him keep that one. So we got a picture. It's on my.
That's
it's on-
uncanny.
it was awesome. It's on my
You-
personal Instagram picture.
You have a new nickname for me. You are the pick magnet.
The pick magnet, dude. If that was only the case, if every show I went to I got a pick, that would be legit.
The pick magnet.
So it was fun. I've only got to see him one time, but I'm glad to have a little something, to bring home from it.
Right.
So it was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I've never received anything or like that. Of course, one time.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one more concert story.
Okay.
So I think this was another Rush concert. So I'm sorry I'm boring you with Rush concert, but
Have you seen them the most of any band you've seen?
probably yeah.
Okay.
I think it's been like 4 times.
Okay.
So one of them was in the. I don't know if this was the. I think this was the Gun at the time, the Q now,
The Q.
and there was no firing up on the bongs in this one or weed smoking in this one, but we actually. It was affordable, but we actually paid for floor seats.
Okay.
But what you don't understand about the floor, and especially if you're a guy of my stature, about 5'10", you can't see over everybody on the floor unless you're up really close.
Yeah.
So this was like 3 big sections of floor seats, and we're like in the third. So, but we fucked it up. I think we try to time it right.
Okay.
Some of the pre-gaming and stuff, you just try to time it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into the venue and spend $50 on beer if I don't have to.
Sure.
So we were pre-gaming in the car, parked in the parking lot. We're going to walk through the walkway to get to the queue.
Okay.
We're going to be indoors the whole time. We're like, oh, good. We'll stay warm, everything, because it's wintertime. And so we're pre-gaming in the car. We're like, okay, it's 5:30. We better go. Show starts at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Show started at 7.
Oh, man.
They let us in. We were sitting on the floor by ourselves for like 45 minutes.
Before anybody else even showed
There
up.
was
at
other
the
people,
concert?
like janitors walking around and shit. And we're like, what the fuck, man? Where the fuck is everybody?
Did you run up to the front and at least take some pictures and shit?
I don't. Well, no. This was like there was no. I didn't bring a camera, and we did. If we had a flip phone, it was a little tiny piece of shit.
Oh, you didn't used to take like the
2x3?
24 exposure codecs?
No, I mean we may have at certain things, but not this.
Oh man.
So, unfortunately, by the time the show starts, we've with just being disgruntled and whatnot, we're just like, okay, well, I guess we're watching this sober.
Right? That sucks.
Yeah.
To be that early for something.
Yeah,
That's
so,
terrible.
It just hit me. I'm glad I remembered that. I
Well,
thought about it later.
The last thing about concerts for right now for me is I just want to let our listeners know, some of you may already know this, some of you may not, that there is 1 week. It's typically, I believe, the last week of March or the beginning of April. You have to get online and check it out. But Live Nation has 8 days. That's the countdown to summer. I believe that it starts on a Saturday and ends the following Sunday night at midnight, to where there's shows all across the country. Their general admission and lawn seats are what you can get, but they're $20 a ticket with no service charges.
Really?
Yeah, so you can get 2 tickets for $40 if there's a band you want to see on the lawn. So just a nice little piece of information for me that enjoys going to concerts.
Hell yeah.
It's a good way to go about doing it, nice and cheap. To
Yeah.
where, I mean, the same tickets are 45.
Cheap is the key.
They're 45 plus tax. You know, like
mean,
you said, once you get
I'm
later
not
in the
lying.
year.
I'm not lying. I love to go to shows.
Yeah.
I love to, but it's hard to afford it.
It's crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there like my daughter wanted to go see 21 Pilots, so
Yeah.
I got her some tickets. I was going to get her, my wife, and myself one. Unfortunately, when the tickets went on sale, you couldn't buy 3 together.
Really?
It was just, well, I mean, you could, but they were sold out enough.
Oh, I
You
gotcha.
couldn't buy 3 together.
That sucks.
So, and they were like, not retarded, but more than I wanted to spend. They were like $80 a piece, $75 a piece.
Yeah.
And these are like for fucking nosebleeders.
That's retarded.
And I'm just like, I mean, I wanted to get her in there. So I bought 2, and I thought, well, maybe I'll buy just a loaner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it ended up that her and my wife went, and I went up and hung out in the casino. But it's just like, I just feel like you're getting raped at some of these. Okay, if you want to pay a lot of money to sit in the front row, I get that.
Yeah.
That's different. Or the first 5 rows.
Sure.
That's different. But to charge that much, and I know why they do it, because they're getting raped with all the bands are getting raped, if you want to call it getting raped, with sales from their music, because of all these music things online where you can just listen to all the music
Yeah.
and you don't have to buy one fucking thing. That's coming out of their pocket, so they charge more for the shows. I get that, but for the everyday person that wants to just go enjoy their band and have like, you know, when you go see somebody live, even though you have zero connection, you feel like you have more of a connection.
For sure.
So that experience shouldn't be negated by just cost, in my opinion. So if there's any way you can go out and get cheaper tickets, do it.
Yeah, it's a great way to go about it. I mean, and they're always good shows too. So
Yeah.
you just got to pay attention to who, what, and where. But it's a good time.
Right on.
Check
So-
with Jake real quick. Do you have anything on the concert scene?
No.
Okay.
I think that wraps it up for that.
Okay. Perfect.
That's all I have to say about
That's
that.
all I have to say about that.
First concert. What was your guys' first concert?
Mine was that Rush with the weed.
My very first concert was Green Day on the lawn up there, and it turned into a huge grass war. It had rained a lot the week before, to where literally I'm talking. But it started off as like people like throwing handfuls of grass,
Yeah.
and it got to the point where it was like chunks of mud like flying through the air, like
And
the
probably
lawn was-
hitting they're probably throwing it at the band too.
No. I mean, you know where you're at. There's no way to get that mud all the way
Oh.
up to the band because the seating in the amphitheater.
Yeah.
It's just out on the lawn. I mean, it was crazy. At one point, we went up to the top, and you're just watching, and it's just like, you know, it's just raining
You don't want to
clumps of
get hit
stuff.
with a big giant mud ball.
I mean, everybody was dirty at that point. I mean, literally the
No,
whole
I don't
place
mean
was a
about
big
your
mud
clothes.
pit.
I mean like upside the head.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, that was one of the reasons we're like, well, we're going to slide out of this mess. So
Yeah, literally. Whee!
it was pretty fun.
All right, so one more topic here.
Yeah.
Jake, have you ever thought about how long you want to live?
I have, actually.
I have too.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to give me your number first, or you want to give me mine? Where I've always been, but as I researched this,
See, I don't have
bit,
where I've always been. I've got
Okay.
a when I was in my youth
Yeah,
and where I'm at now.
gotcha.
So, now I want you to go first.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound stupid, and I'm not a soothsayer or anything like that. I don't have any divine wisdom. I just have always had a feeling that, based on the athletics and the eating and the drinking and all those things, like probably going to be a mid 60s and out guy. Not that that's my aspiration.
You never know.
To where trying to change things up, but like I've always felt that was about the point that my body's going to be like, all right.
Well, that's. I mean, I hope not. Hope you're around a little.
I mean,
longer than that.
I hope not too. And after reading, I'm way encouraged after reading. But that's what I'm saying. That's where I was prior to us really getting into the topic.
Okay,
here.
so
I'll
so
enlighten a little more later.
For me, as a young kid, and like thinking that I'm invincible, I'm like, nah, I'm going to live to 100. I absolutely, I want to get to 3 digits. I think I can.
Sure.
But where I'm at now is I'm like, I think the number. I mean, if I could live as long as I wanted to, let's put it that way.
You're out.
I think the way things are currently in the medical world and everything, I think 85 is enough. I don't mean, we've all seen plenty of seniors, and the meat just hanging off the bones when they're in their 90s. I don't know if I want that. I don't know. I mean, unless you can keep the muscle tissue where it should be or close to where it should be,
Yeah.
whether that's just being exercising or keeping up with everything, or if there's I don't want to say an invention, but a new medical science that helps elderly people keep rejuvenated.
Absolutely.
Then yeah, I'd say longer.
Right.
But as far as things the way they are now,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a 100-year-old bag of bones that's like, hey, there's Grandpa. He's over there on the floor. Oh, he raised a finger. Whoa.
No, I don't want that either. I mean, and that's part of what has always gone into my mindset. If I am not physically and mentally like still in the game, then I don't want to deal with it. I don't ever want to become a burden.
Well, right. But the sidebar to this is, we've always heard the conspiracy theories about cancer treatments because it's going to cost, which I think is fucking bullshit. The cancer treatments are going to be in place of said medicine that even maybe. I mean, people that are suffering from things like cancer, their life expectancy isn't, great. So why not just cure them and charge a lot of money for it?
Right.
But anyways, the conspiracies with that, and so if you could cut that bullshit out and cure a lot of cancers and dementias and Alzheimer's, if you could take care of that, or let's say 75% of it, which would be huge. Get you back down to brass tacks. And, I think at that point, like I was talking about the muscle tissue rejuvenation stuff,
Right.
you do all that, let's all live to 150.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a lot of studies that's the number that is like the next number they're aspiring to. The oldest person that ever lived was from France that we know of and made it to 122 years old. And that was
That's like when? Like recent?
1997 was when they passed.
Wow. And they were 122.
122. It's funny too because if as you start reading about it, there was the one person that lived to be 122. Then there have been, I think it said 3 that have lived to 119, and then it was like 9 that were 118, and like 27 that were 117, 115, whatever the number was. To where every time that you drop a year, the numbers start going up. But when you get to 100, there are shitloads of them now, and especially ones that are still going. I mean, I've talked to my wife about it extensively. She has a lot of people in her building that are in their mid to upper 90s
Right.
that still get around all right. And one of the things that I thought was interesting that she said is the people that are doing the best are the ones that take maybe a baby aspirin a day, or a baby aspirin and they might have like one blood pressure pill.
Right.
But she said that there seems to be a direct correlation between the amount of medication that people are on.
Oh, sure.
And exactly how long.
Well,
your body
here's
holds
what
up to
people
it all.
don't really correlate with the medication.
Yeah.
Is the more you take, the more your fucking liver and pancreas are getting fucked.
Right.
So when those start deteriorating, you're going to die anyways.
Right.
So you're right. You're exactly right. The people that can get away with only taking a baby aspirin and a blood pressure pill, they're going to live longer.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. So one of the things that I wanted to look at in this is clearly we've made bad decisions in our
Yes.
life when it comes to food, drink,
Staying up too late.
exercise over periods of time.
Staying up too late.
Right? So
Jake's like, last night.
Man.
every night,
Yeah, almost every night.
right? But no, I wanted to look and see if there was anything out there that were progress that it looks like there's going to be a direct correlation to between this new technology and how long people are living, with quality life. Did you look up any of this kind of stuff?
Nope.
Okay, well, I have a couple things that I'm excited for. For a long time, I've thought that heart disease is going to be the thing that gets me. Hardening of the arteries, build up a plaque in the arteries, you have a heart attack, game over. Well, there's actually 3 different things that are in trial right now they're being called the Drainos of your veins and arteries.
Oh, no, that would be great.
Yeah, there's one that's called D-PDMP, and it basically stops the hardening of the arteries and then starts regenerating. Starts breaking down the plaque that's already in there.
I forgot about that. When I said cancer, Alzheimer's, and dementia, and the heart clogging.
One out of 4
Yeah.
people that die in the United States die from heart disease.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's the number one killer here because we're also obese.
Right.
And then there was another one that's called
Bless you, Jake.
true dopamine that is also in clinical trials right now.
Right.
Basically does the exact same thing. Both of those researchers have had really good results with lab rats, to where they're talking that the true dopamine actually with one shot you're good for like 5 or 6 years. It'll break all your shit down to where like you go back every 5 or 6 years, to where that's where they're trending with that. But the one that I thought was the most interesting one, and it actually sounds like it has the most appeal to me, is in your cholesterol, you have 2 different cholesterols, right? How people say good cholesterol, bad cholesterol.
Sure, I've heard that.
Your HDLs are your good one.
Okay.
Your LDLs are your bad one.
Okay.
And the HDLs, the good ones, they actually, it's almost like a war inside of your veins and arteries. to where
Yes.
The HDLs are tearing down the LDLs so that they can't create plaque on the linings of your veins and arteries. So what they've been doing is they've been kind of microdosing this stuff over like a 6-week period of time, and they're showing huge improvements on basically just cleaning out the arteries, to where if you have to go on a 6-month program once every 5 or 10 years, they're saying that basically between these medicines, they think that one of them is going to get all the way through the FDA, and to where it's going to basically wipe out heart disease.
Oh, that would be awesome. Then we
Right.
could just eat whatever we want.
Right, and to me, it's a huge. It really is. It really
Not
is
that
a
I
huge
don't
one, because
anyways.
That's one of the things that kills so many people. And even if it doesn't kill you right away, you start getting all that plaque and stuff in there. Your blood pressure goes up, which increases your
Right.
risk of stroke. I'm trying to start paying attention as I get to turn 40 here.
Yeah.
you
have to.
have to start looking at.
Well,
salads
you
and
don't
stuff a little
have
bit more.
to, but you probably should.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And it's something that I encourage people to ask your doctors about if you have any fear of it, especially if you start getting into our age. Like I asked them if there was a scan, because apparently there's a scan that they can do to see exactly what's going on.
Really?
Yeah, I would like to.
Is it like an ultrasound?
I think that like you drink a dye and then like they can take pictures. It's
That's
actually,
probably more like an MRI or
It's probably
something.
I think it is like more like an MRI, but to where they can actually kind of see the way that it's traveling through and where you have plaque buildup and stuff like that.
Sweet.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So just a couple of things I want to mention, just for people to think about, because it's one of those things where I feel like this information doesn't really get out to the masses the way that it should.
Well,
So just a few other things.
10 more people just heard it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. The RNA interference is a really interesting one. So everybody has heard of DNA, right? DNA is what we're all made out of, right?
Yes,
that,
sir.
That comes from your genes. RNA is another. It's another type thing. It's ribonucleic acid instead of deoxyribonucleic acid. But what they're able to do with these right now is they're finding that they can use RNA, give you an injection, and it will actually go to your genes and stop your genes from making proteins that create cancer cells and Alzheimer's and glaucoma. So that's
Sweet.
another one I think it's like if you can cure heart disease and cancer, I'll take 125, 150, But I don't know. A lot of what you read too talks about how our generation is really going to be the first generation that hasn't toiled every day of their life in fields, and working hard physical labor. The food is better now than it's ever been, to where if you eat clean,
Yeah, but
you
the
keep active.
At home, I'd say yes, the food is better.
Yeah.
But portion size is going to kill you alone if you eat out a lot.
Yeah.
The portion fucking size in America is retarded.
We eat a lot.
I mean,
There's no question about it.
it's too much. I haven't personally traveled overseas, but like to Europe and all that. But they say that the portion sizes are so much smaller,
Really.
and people are like, "Where's all the fucking food?"
I mean, I've seen the commercials where it's like the real fancy plate with the little tiny thing in the middle. Like,
Well,
what the
that's
hell's
kind
going
of
on
like
here?
those fancy restaurants. But I'm just saying, overall, I've heard that the U.S. has the largest portion size. It's
Got
like, for instance, just a quick one, like Chipotle.
Yeah.
How many times have you stuffed a whole Chipotle thing in your mouth and ate the whole damn thing and we're like, God, it's so good. And then like, for me anyways, the next 2 hours, I'm like, why did I fucking do that?
Right. Drives you nuts.
But it's so good.
So I found a couple different things, but there was one other thing that I found that I thought was incredibly interesting, that I think really will help people. And this is actually happening already. It's already been approved by the FDA to where this is in practice. What they're doing is they're using 3D printers to create bones, joints, stuff like that you need that are exactly for you. So instead of using a cookie cutter, this is your hip replacement that they pound in there. They're actually making it specific to people, and they're finding that the bodies are accepting them a lot more.
So they can 3D print something that's as strong as a bone.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. To where the article I was reading is even talking about how this is going to be the first time that it opens up to where, excuse me, they've actually done full bone replacement. To where like if you totally smash one of the bones in your arm, to where like they can actually make one, replace it, and
From
body,
your other arm.
no.
No, I'm saying they can scan your other arm that has a perfect
Oh,
bone
yeah.
and make a
Yeah,
inverted view and
Right.
yeah.
and make the exact thing that you need to go in there. So it's like I hear things like that. It's like, well, I don't want to become all robotics, but
It sounds like, though-
if you can keep my bones in good shape and you can keep my brain and my
I-
heart in good shape, I mean,
I'm gonna
sky's the limit.
also say that we're probably gonna be one of the last generations to miss some of this. I mean, this isn't happening tomorrow.
I mean, the 3D is, and they're talking about the at least one of the heart medications they expect to be passed by 2022. That doesn't have
I'm
us too
just
far
saying,
down the road.
in 20 years, I'm going to be 62. I don't know how advanced they're going to. I mean, I'm sure it advances quickly.
But even at 62, if you could go into a hospital for 2 days, have them hook you up to a machine that runs stuff through to clean your blood, and then all of your arteries are fine after 62 years of eating and drinking.
But do you think that they're going to advance that much in 20 years?
I do.
Well, I hope so.
I still think though that we're at the start of everything. We may advance that far in 20 years, but what's 20 years from then? And 20 years from
for
then,
sure.
That would be huge. Yeah.
we're at the start of
Huge.
technology in general. We're
Yeah.
like, the 90s it took off, and
Right.
now we're starting to see some of the benefits, but we'll see if the world goes positive or negative in that.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting that they were talking about living old is they had two different lines, and it was like, and they were by age, like the age at which you are most likely to die from some kind of an accident, and then the age when like the
Medical stuff.
cancers, strokes, heart attacks, stuff like that, to where like that's the line that they're really trying to keep moving.
Yeah.
I mean, accidents are going to happen; those are unpreventable.
Well, yeah. You never know when you. Yeah, you might end up with the big C, which is horrible.
Right.
It does. There's no mercy there.
No, but like they're getting closer and closer though every day. I mean, they've successfully defeated cancer on millions of patients. But there's other
Right.
patients that haven't got through.
Right.
I mean, early detection, is one of the big things.
Sure.
But I don't know. It just to me, it's almost been like an enlightening, kind of a refreshing thing.
Sure.
To take a
when
look
you
at.
when you hear some of that, yeah, absolutely.
to think
Wow,
that
they really are on our side.
right. I mean, I don't want to be the last guy standing that went through all these procedures and all my friends are dead and half of my grandchildren are struggling. Like, I don't want to become that guy that's just hanging on by myself. But at
That's
the same time, if we can keep it going.
That's the one funny story you hear from super old people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm blessed to have lived this long, but all my friends are dead.
Right.
It's kind of a. But hey, if we're all living longer, then maybe your friends will stick around.
Right. So
So
that's all I got on that part. I just thought it'd be fun to bring it up and get a couple points out there that maybe
right.
someone hears something. If anybody knows of anything different that I didn't mention on here when it comes to the cleaning of the arteries
Right.
and like your brain health, as far as I know that like omega-3 stuff like that are great for your brain. If there's any suggestions without sending me basically a brochure, because that's not what I want.
right,
I
no
just wanna-
brochures. We just want to get down to brass tacks about this.
Exactly. Just on its base level.
Yep. Base level.
Right. If you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band, So that's all we're asking for. So if you get a chance, send us something in. You can hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Or right on
Gmail.
Yeah, Gmail. Our Harper guys, theharperguys@gmail.com.
That's right.
So seriously,
right.
we're thirsting for some of your knowledge at this point on some of these things.
That's right. And at this time, we've got a couple promos we want to play.
Okay.
From a couple different bands. Other podcasts. This is Karaoke Big E. So we're all going to... He does a little bit of karaoke on the show. And here we go. We're going to dance while he sings.
Is this him?
I don't know. This isn't him. He looks like a big dude. If his voice is this high... No, I'm going to shut up now.
All right. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to rise.
Do you like comedy, karaoke, and music history? Check out Karaoke Big E with your hosts Kevmo and Big E every Tuesday on your favorite podcast app of choice. And remember, you can't be a star if you don't shine.
All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
That was a struggle for me to not sing along right there. I'm not gonna lie,
Karaoke is fun, man.
dude. It was so hard. I'm sitting there just trying to be like, don't do it. Don't let
Yeah.
it go.
So, anyways, check out Karaoke Big E. Now we've got another one. Who is it, little Jake? What we got?
It's Flicks X-Ray.
Flicks X-Rayed. All right, let's check them out.
Hi, this is Tony, the host of the Flicks X-Rayed podcast. Each week, I am joined by guests. Hello.
Yo.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
And we have a roundtable discussion where we dig deep and X-ray a bunch of our favorite films and some really terrible ones too. We really like to go back and take a look at films that may be forgotten, maybe in the past, and still lovable films. If you want, you can follow us on all the major platforms, iTunes, Google, Stitcher. If you want to find out more, you can find us online at www.flicksxrayed.com. And you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to reach out to us. Good night, Internet.
All right, there we go. We got Flicks X-Rayed.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them a listen. So that's it.
All right, man. We good for today?
I think we're good for today.
Man,
Well-
I feel like the show went fast.
Yeah, it did. I think we put a little bit more on this one than we have on some other ones lately,
all right.
but it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just right. I think I should give one more fuck you out there, though.
Oh yeah.
But this is to the sports world.
Oh,
This is just going to be real quick.
you button hooked me.
Yeah, button hooked here. Bill Belichick. I just want to give a fuck you to Bill Belichick.
Why?
Because even though he probably will go down as the greatest NFL coach ever, everybody's saying that, yada, yada, yada. He's got busted for cheating twice. And I don't know. If he's only got busted for cheating twice, I say only, how many more times has he successfully cheated? Probably 20 or more times. I'm just throwing out a number there. I have no basis on this, but I just want to say, fuck you, Bill Belichick. If you're going to be the greatest of all time, just do it right. I mean, I doubt it was necessary that he had to do Deflategate, set up a camera, watching the New York Giants or New York Jets do the practice. It just fuck you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I can only hope that there will be a stigma around him because of the cheating that is around Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. People call those guys cheaters. Neither one was actually ever proven anything. This dude's
Yeah, but
cheated to win 2
sometimes
Super
you
Bowls.
just got to be the era with your eyes, Jake. It's just an era with your eyes.
No.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Some guys are smart. I would say Barry Bonds is probably a fairly intelligent fella.
Sure.
I don't know. Some of these other guys might just be stupid fucking hunks of meat. Give me what you got. He might be like, give me what you got and give me a way out. I'm just saying. Once again, no proof, and I'm not slamming Barry Bonds, but
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Bill's a proven cheater.
Yes.
Barry's an alleged cheater.
Right.
There's a huge difference between those two things.
Yeah, but Ben Roethlisberger was alleged rapist as well, but I still call him a rapist.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if raping helped his play on the field, but that's where it comes down to Belichick and Bonds, to where they get put in a different category because it led to championships for Belichick, at least one of them for sure. And Bonds, with the speculation, it's curious as to whether or not those numbers are legit or not.
Well, that's another thing with Barry, though. I think that he could have got stupendous numbers without bulking up like that, whether it was legal or not. I just think the guy was a phenom regardless.
I'm not disagreeing.
So
You're not going to get.
I mean, my favorite Cleveland Indian of all time, Manny Ramirez. He's got an asterisk now. I mean, he will always.
He's another one though. He didn't have to do it.
He didn't have to do it. But anyways, that's how I wanted to wrap the show up.
No, I like it. Fuck you, Bill Belichick. You're still the go-to. We love you.
Yeah, asterisks.
Asterisk.
All right,
Man.
let's roll.
Take us home, Jake. Yeah.
That's good.
That's what I needed.
It does. It lets you just ride on out.
It does. So, hey, concert seats are coming. Have a good time.
Yep.
Don't get a DUI while you're doing
Don't get a DUI.
it. Make some good choices.
Use Uber, Lyft, whatever else is out there.
That's right.
Get home safely. Don't listen to Sam Kinison anymore.
No. It's no good for you. All right, man. Bip, bip.
Cheerio.